President Xi Jinping welcomed Vladimir Putin to Beijing with full state honors. US President Donald Trump received a similar reception just days earlier, but the tone struck at these talks was notably warmer. Xi said relations had reached an all-time high.
We have been able to continually deepen our political mutual trust and strategic coordination with a resilience that remains unyielding despite 1,000 trials and tribulations.
Those tribulations, Xi said, included growing global instability and the risk of a return to what he called the law of the jungle. Putin addressed Xi as his dear friend and said Moscow would continue working with Beijing to build a more multipolar world while continuing to supply it with discounted energy.
Our country is one of the largest exporters of oil, natural gas, including liquefied gas, and coal to China. We are, of course, ready to continue to reliably ensure uninterrupted supplies of all these fuels to the rapidly growing Chinese market.
The leaders oversaw the signing of 40 agreements spanning energy, transport, and space exploration. Putin says trade was worth $240 billion in 2025, with most transactions using Chinese yuan or Russian rubles. They issued a joint statement calling for an immediate end to the war in Iran and criticizing what they described as the threat of Japan's rearmament and militarization. The war in Ukraine, however, was not mentioned. China has denied US reports that Xi told Trump that Putin may come to regret the full-scale invasion. That conflict and years of Western sanctions have weakened Russia's economy, making Moscow increasingly dependent on China. Russian officials say the two sides have agreed to parameters for a second gas pipeline, but no details have been announced. Xi and Putin are also discussing expanding tourism. More than 2 million Russians have visited China under the visa-free program launched last year. It's helped to revive this area, a part of Beijing known as the Russian Quarter, which is full of Russian supermarkets, restaurants, and clothing stores. The two leaders later launched a joint education initiative before continuing talks over a state dinner and tea. For Xi Jinping, hosting both Trump and Putin within days of each other sends an important message that China sees itself as a central power in an increasingly divided world. Katrina, Al Jazeera, Beijing.